Welcome back to the Lehocky Eagle Postgame Show. It's Christmas Day. As you can see, I'm going to try to do this whole segment with my hat. What do you think? Is it working? There we go. It's disappearing out of the screen. All right. Well, anyway.
Like our faith in the Eagles.
You guys, was Santa good to you guys?
Santa,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what the hell you talking about. I'm Santa's.
It's the Lehocky Eagles.
Oh, there ain't no kids watching this.
I'm Mike Missinelli with Seth Joyner and Mark Porzetta. And joining us now is the great Bill Colarulo. Bill, I got to get your overall opinion of what you witnessed. And you heard us talking in the first segment about what this really means. And what it means to me is they're still kind of disconnected. And I have no idea what they're going to do in the playoffs. But what did you see in this game?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Michael. It's good to see you, my friend. But look, I see people in the chat, the diehard fans, quote unquote, getting angry that we're not coming up here just being cheerleaders. And I bleed green. I say it on my show all the time. I bleed green. I want this team to win. I want this team to win another Super Bowl. But if we sit up here and we act like this is a good football team, it reminds me of the parents who watch their kids play and think that they're so much better than they are, and God forbid anyone says anything negative about them. We just played a JV football team, Mike. I mean, the Giants absolutely stink. If this team didn't completely dominate the Giants, I knew I was going to be upset. We said it on the pregame show. And what a sloppy damn game. First of all, they get that interception at the end of the game, so they only lose the turnover battle 2-1. But there's still a -7 turnover differential on the season. They had 9 penalties in this football game, and it came down to the last play of the game against the New York Giants. So as much as we all want to be positive on Christmas and the team's 11-4, they just beat a JV football team, and they barely snuck out of Lincoln Financial Field. I don't see how we could sit up here and just be positive like some of the fans want us to.
Fans here are pretty educated. The only thing that matters at this point is not what the number is in their record. What matters is, are they strong enough to actually accomplish something significant in the playoffs? That's what we're measuring right now. And this game certainly wasn't an indication that they're worthy of that. So we can't sit up here and tell lies and say, yeah, it was a great win. It wasn't a great win. They were close to actually losing this game. And one fluke completion at the end would have tied the game maybe. So it shouldn't have been that close.
No, it shouldn't have been that close. And really, we said this last week, and we said it the week before, is we're not overreacting to only 1 or 2 football games. We've now seen 15 games of this Eagles team play. They're a sloppy team. They make bad decisions on offense. There's bad play calling on offense. The defense lacks talent. I thought the defense played hard tonight. I mean, it wasn't difficult in the first half when you're playing against a guy who shouldn't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. As great of a story as DeVito was for North Jersey, the guy shouldn't have been a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And Tyrod Taylor gave that team a better chance to win. So it's hard to sit up here after watching this team now for 15 games and think that they can go into the playoffs and beat these upper echelon teams. And it kills me to say, Mike, but the Dallas Cowboys are one of the upper echelon teams in the NFC when you're comparing them to the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
I'll say this. I don't agree about the Cowboys. That's the only thing I will say. Because I think the Cowboys are just a choke job waiting to happen in the postseason during the regular season. But the idea that you would host them here if you did meet, I don't fear the Cowboys anymore.
I don't know how you could say, but Farzi, how could we say we don't fear the Cowboys here?
They can't play on the road, Bill. They just can't play on the road. They've been defined.
You want to know what the Cowboys' problem is? The Cowboys, just like they've always been, they're front runners. Now, if they get a lead on you, you're in trouble, okay? Because they're just going to pour it on offensively and defensively. That's when they play their best football. But if you can keep them at 0, if you can keep it at even, or if you can get a lead on that football team, that's when they come undone. And that's one of the reasons why they've struggled on the road is they don't score as many points on the road as they do at home. At home, they light the scoreboard up. On the road, they struggle to score points. And when they don't score points, they can't stop the run. They can't get after the passer. because it's not a predictable passing situation, you know. So I won't go that far because they've shown that they can put points up against the Eagles. If they come to the link and have to play the Eagles in the link, I wouldn't pick the Eagles to win that game. No way.
Well, look, I'm being very negative because I'm frustrated. And the reason I'm frustrated as well is because the one positive you could take from tonight also frustrates the hell out of me, because why does this team refuse to see what their identity should be? When they commit to the run like they did in the fourth quarter with DeAndre Swift and even mix it in Kenny Gainwell a little bit, and they establish the run and go on these methodical drives like we've talked about, they could be a very good, efficient offense, and they can win the time of possession battle. They can keep a defense that lacks personnel on the sidelines, but it's so damn frustrating watching these games. It literally took 70,000 fans at Lincoln Financial Field to call the offense for them to finally start running the football. That's what's so frustrating, because it's not as if this team can't do anything right. When they call the right plays and they run an effective, methodical offense, this offense can be very good. It could be very efficient. They just refuse to do it. I don't understand why they ignore the run still to this day for extended periods of time.
It's not sexy. And you know what? You'll go and you'll look at the stat line and you'll see that they threw the ball 38 times.
38 throws.
And they'll throw it 35 times. But I'll go back to what I always say as far as that stat is concerned, because that's the stat that the analytics people will use. And that's the stat that, you know, Pro Football Focus will use, is that, look, they were balanced. Okay. But when your quarterback is taking off running the ball, you know, Jalen led the team in rushing in attempts in the first half of the game. Where is it here? He had
Jalen
had 6 carries, and I believe
Swift had 5.
Swift only had 5. You know, so there's something amiss there. You know, and then when you start to look at the numbers, how many? I don't understand why the NFL doesn't do it. Well, I know why they don't do it, because, you know, if they separated the numbers out the way that they should, people would see how imbalanced most teams are in regards to the run to pass ratio. Because when Jalen Hurts drops back in the pocket and attempts to pass and he's got to take off and run, that's counted as a run, not a pass. It's counted as a run play. It's markedly different. That was a called pass play that went to hell in a handbasket, and Jalen had to take off and run to try to make something happen. That's not a running play. It turned into a running play. A running play is when you call a running play, the blocking scheme is blocking like it's a running play, and you turn around and you hand the ball off to the running back. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And I guarantee you, if each and every week we meted it out and we separated those numbers, Jalen's runs, the actual tush push or quarterback keep runs, opposed to runs where he's got to vacate the pocket and try to make something happen. And by the way, you know, the way that they're calling offense now, in the first half, I really liked the way that they called the offensive game plan. They were pretty solid in the first half, Bill. You know, the problem was in the second half, you know, things kind of got dictated in a different way, because you started off and, you know, you allow the team to get a touchdown right out of the gate, and then all of a sudden it affects how you begin to call plays. You know, but in the first half of this football game, I even tweeted, I'm like, wow, look at them. They're actually taking what the defense is giving them. They are actually, you know, moving the ball methodically down the field. The only time where they had hiccups, you know, in the first half, you know, that fourth possession is when they had a penalty or they had a loss on the play. I believe that Swift had a running play. He got tackled for a loss in the backfield. So it's, you know, 2nd and 14. Then they went incomplete. Then they had to turn around and punt the ball. But most of the time, when they're operating the way that they should, take the short passes. You know, how many times do we see Jalen just raise up and throw the ball to DeAndre Swift out of the backfield today? There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not the way that they want to live. That's not the way that they want this offense to operate. They want that offense to operate on big plays. Devontae Smith, huge, 36-yard touchdown. That's how you create explosive plays. You don't create explosive plays by thinking you're going to run by a guy that's 8-10 yards off the ball. No, you got to make that guy move up so he's in a position where you can run by him. So if you run in the short, the intermediate route, the stop routes, the in routes, the out routes, the hookups, the deep dig routes, you start running those types of routes and you start to complete them. Now you get a defense in a position where now they got to start coming up and playing you a little more aggressively. They got to get up and closer to you. Now you got an opportunity for double moves and an opportunity, to run by a guy. But you're not going to run by people when they know that you want the big play that way. It's just I don't understand the thinking, and it's funny because John, kind of reiterated and co-signed in the pregame, their theology and how they're going to go about doing things. But when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So you can keep trying to do the same thing over and over again. If it doesn't work, it does not work. At what point in time do you make the decision to change how you do things? Because there was nothing at all wrong with an 18 play drive that stalled out. Yeah, you had to kick a field goal, okay? But you had an 11-play drive. You had a 14-play drive. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand what the problem is, why they don't like that.
Yeah, and Seth, they did have good balance. And then you look at the third quarter when Jalen throws his pick six. They get the ball on the 6-yard line, and they're calling good plays. They're mixing it up. They're running the ball. They're throwing the ball. They get from the 6-yard line. They get all the way up to the 47. They then go pass, 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 intercepted, touchdown the other way. Why? Why will you refuse to do what's working? You get the ball at the 6. You have all this balance. You're running the ball. You're mixing it up. You're throwing the ball. And then they just go pass, pass, pass. And I know that interception Dallas Goedert fell down on. But Jalen should have thrown interception the play before that when he got
the interception wasn't his worst throw. It was actually not even his worst play. He had two worse plays than that.
Yeah, so it's just frustrating because they do have the talent on the offensive side of the football that they should be dominating games. But to stay positive, it's Christmas. What I did love to see, is they got the ball.
As long as we're in a good spirit, this is actually supposed to be the player you can bank on segment. It's brought to you by First Trust Bank. So Farsi, who did you bank on today? If you're looking at Eagle football.
I'll tell you, I mean, it started out like I was going to bank on that Britton Covey character. He was looking like a guy I could bank on. But the guy I'm banking on is DeAndre Swift. And I really wish the Eagles would bank on him more often because it is just absolutely, it's a football crime that this guy doesn't get more touches. It's a football crime this guy doesn't get more carries. And even in the game where Kenny Gainwell, I believe, had 3 catches out of the backfield today, DeAndre Swift had 0. Now, I'm happy with him running the football, but you can also use him, as we all know, in that screen game. But for whatever damn reason, the Eagles don't want to run it. DeAndre Swift is a guy that the Eagles can bank on time and time again. And if you are looking to put a game away, even after you mess up and coming out of halftime with that fumble and just gave a touchdown to the Giants, you can continue to bank on a guy like DeAndre Swift to take that ball down the field. 5 carries in the first half and 15 in the second half is all you really need to know about who they needed to bank on in that second half. And DeAndre Swift is a lot better than what the Eagles have given him credit for this season. And it's become a storyline with a lot of regularity in these games ever since DeAndre Swift had that great run in the first 5 games of the season, really 4 games of the season, not including the first one against the Patriots, where they talk about all this great production. And it was another storyline tonight, all this great production in the early going of the season for DeAndre Swift. And man, this Eagles, Howie Roseman's a genius for getting a guy like this. And then where did it go? All of a sudden, did he just become terrible? Is it all because of Cam Jurgens not playing in those games? Was it because Soyo Peta was in those games? Why was it? Well, it's because the Eagles just decided that wasn't going to be their bread and butter anymore. And I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but if they continue to use him the way they used him tonight in the second half, we're not going to be sweating out the endings of games against the Cardinals or the Giants again when you see them in 2 weeks. And you might even feel a little bit better about this football team going into the postseason. But it all comes down to how they run the game, how they run the ball. And the best guy to do that for him is DeAndre Swift.
Last word, Bill, before we go into the break. What do you got?
I'll just say that the positive to end my little segment with is when they got the ball back with about 5 minutes left, I said to the people here on Christmas, last year's team would have gone on a 4-minute drive and ran this clock all the way down. And that's what they did. It would have been nice if they were able to close it out, but they went on a long drive, ran a lot of clock off, only giving the ball back to the Giants with, what, 1:30 left? Something like that.
Minute 10.
So,
yeah, they got field goal.
So that was good to see. That was good to see because a few weeks ago, what we saw were 3 and outs, giving them the ball back with way too much time. So I'm baby steps, I guess, Mike. Baby steps.
All right, that sounds good. Kayla Santiago is going to join us with the Diamond Debate on your Philadelphia Eagles. And again, this is a show. It's a Christmas, and we want to be in good spirits. But to me, like, it comes down to, is this team good enough to do something in the playoffs? It's really the only question that's left for Eagle fans, right? This is the only question. It doesn't really matter what happens these last couple of games. They're going to win it. But we're trying to get a measuring stick here on how they're playing football. And we'll continue to do that on the Lehocky Eagles post-game show. Kayla's up next. Come back to us.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.